So welcome along to day 4, everybody. It's great to see most people back for day 2 of this little chunk of Time to Grow days. We've got another busy day and plenty of conversation coming up. And I'm going to hand over to Shelley to lead this sort of first part of the session, and I'll pick up after the break with the next workshop. So fire away, Shelley.
So welcome everyone to day 4. So today we are going to be looking at prioritising needs, exploring opportunities and strengthening solutions. I'll just chat you through the agenda very quickly so you know what to expect and when. So we'll start on that first section in just a minute, unpacking community and social issues. So these are the things that you're working on with your project or venture. We'll have some breakouts within that, and then we'll take a bit of a comfort break. Then Nicole's going to talk about some tools and techniques that you can use for problem solving, social innovation and prioritising, and we'll be giving you some chance to practice some of these, but these can be applied to any problem or issue that you're facing, whether it's in your business life or even your personal life. These can be useful for as well. Then we've got the all-important lunch, again unfortunately not provided today, sorry about that. And then this afternoon we're going to look at refining some of your ideas, so thinking about the activities, the products and services that you or your venture is going to run in order to solve the problem that you're looking at. And then we'll close around about 2:30. And as ever, if you need to nip out for any reason, if you need to go up off camera for any reason, then just if you could let us know, that'd be great, but we completely understand. Okay, so we're going to start off today by getting right to the heart of the matter and unpacking the community and social issues that matter to you. So you will have had a bit of a chance to think about these with the shield exercises that we did in Wigan or online, and also the journey that we looked at, the things that have got you to this point. So understanding what we want to try and do today is really to start to pinpoint and articulate what is the challenge that you're working on, why it bothers you, why you think this is something that's worth devoting your time to. Then we're going to get you to start thinking about who else is seeking to tackle the social issue that you're trying to address. And you may think of these might be considered competitors, but they might also be potential collaborators. But having a sense of who is out there doing what you're doing, whether it's in your area or it's elsewhere, it might be that you could borrow from some fantastic practices that are already happening in a different region, for example. And then to ask the question, so how you're going to do it better or differently or more effectively or with more impact. So in just a second, we're going to look at this exercise in order to unpack this. So we're going to give you a structure again, like we did yesterday. We're going to go into breakouts. We're going to get right to it today. And we are going to put you in groups of 3. And we'd like you to take one of these 3 roles. And today, everyone's going to have a chance to be the pitcher. So we are going to be looking at your issue, your challenge. And don't worry if this doesn't feel developed or fully formed. This is a place in which you can develop and start to form that. So it's a case of getting something down and starting to express it to the outside world. Or if you're a bit further down the line, if you know what it is you're working on, it's an opportunity to get some feedback from the group and start to refine it a bit further. So we're going to do 3 breakout rounds in the same group. So groups of 3. So one person will be the pitcher, the change maker. So the spotlight's on you for that bit. One person will be specifically listening, but also asking the 3 questions that we'll mention on the next slide and trying to probe and get more information about the issue that the pitcher is working on. And the third person is the observer. So they're going to be observing silently and not saying anything, which, as we discovered yesterday, is a really hard thing to do, but just really taking on what you're hearing and starting to make some observations for yourself. And then at the end of the breakout, that session, we'll be asking the observer to give some feedback. So things that the observer might be thinking about is how confident is the pitcher? Are they knowledgeable about the issues at hand? Are they clear on their community and about the wider support and also the competition that's out there? And then, as I say, that person will offer a suggestion or a piece of feedback that the pitcher can then take away and feed into what it is they're working on. So we're going to give you about 10 to 15 minutes each, and then we'll swap roles. So if everyone should get the opportunity to be a pitcher, everyone should get the opportunity to be a listener, asking the questions and probing, and everyone will get the opportunity to be the silent observer who will just listen all the way through until they give feedback at the end. So that's the structure to the approach. Before I move on to the questions, has anyone got any queries about how we're structuring the breakouts? Does that make sense in terms of the roles?
Can I just ask ask, you know, the thing that we're thinking about, does it have to be something to do with social issues?
No, I don't think so. No, it's
or is it something on your business?
It's on your business. So it's the core of your business. So even if you aren't a social enterprise, say, you will be solving a problem for your customers. So that's the thing that you're working on.
It's about external. It's not about you, and it's not about the mechanics of how you're running what you're doing. It might be a bit, but today is really all about, are the solutions that we're coming up with to address issues in our community fit for purpose? Are they good? Do they work? How could they be better? How could they be more refined? So if that's not resonating with you and there's something more at the forefront of your mind, that's absolutely fine. But I think where possible, if it's about how you're trying to evolve your products and services for the benefit, you know, of others, those are the sorts of challenges that we're going to be seeking to tackle today. So it might be that you've got to ease yourself in with what's at the forefront of your mind, and that's absolutely fine. But you'll find as we go on, we're using today to look at the proposition or the services or the solutions that you're trying to come up with, whether it's projects or groups or activities, you know how and how well they're working and how well they're being received, are the main, you know, and how well you're communicating them to get the engagement that you need is what we're going to be looking at. But if you've got something else in the back of your mind that's like, actually you want to talk about this, you know, we're not going to hold you to ransom over that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I have set the breakouts up, Shelley, just so you know, but it's typical, there's like, what's the word? There's a room with only one person in it because of the way the numbers are falling just at this moment, but we'll juggle them around.
Can I just request something? I know that yesterday in one of the groups, I really struggle with people who don't have the camera on, but she's fine if they don't want to put it on. But can I ask not to be in a group with people who don't want to have the cameras on? Because it just really, I felt just closed me down yesterday. Don't feel cool.
Say, I'll put my video on if I'm in a small group. Whilst we're in a big group, it's helped me focus. So just to reassure people who might think I'm going to be a blank face, I'm not going to do that.
I think the people that are in your group are on camera. It's hard for me to see right now. I'm just Googling down. Let me see. Oh, as far as I can see, I think, oh, maybe not. Let me have a look. Just trying to work. Let me do a shufty. Let me do this then.
And with these things, we can always juggle people around. So it's good to express what works for you, because we can accommodate lots of things. So thanks for saying that, Sarah. And also, just to go back to your question, Sissy, one of the reasons for doing this about your business proposition is so that you can start to craft your elevator pitch and start to make visible to the outside world what it is that you're doing, or if you haven't done so already, and just to try and really hone that and move it on to the next stage if that's something that you've already honed.
Right, and I have a feeling that we have a group of 2, so you might just have to have a bit more of a listening, a chat, so that you won't have an observer. You'll have to observe each other. I think there's one group. It may be that somebody arrives late and we took them into your group, but for now, most people have got 3. There's Sissy and one other person, I think, in another group. And I'm just going to click open all rooms.
Yeah, if we could not join just yet, Nicola, because I've not done the questions. I just need to do the next slide.
Okay, I'm just going to close all rooms. There you go. No one can join. There you go. Ignore me.
No worries. If you could, would you move the slide on one, please?
Of course I will. Yeah. I'm just trying to. Oh, there's the option to add a room on here, which wasn't yesterday. Anyway.
Oh, I thought we had the questions. Oh no, move it back.
The questions are at the bottom there. You meaning
questions? Right. Yes. Okay. So it's those 3 questions.
Yeah. For the observer.
Right. So as ever, we'll copy these and pop them into the chat so that you can refer to them.
Yeah.
And we'll give you 10 to 15 minutes for each picture. And oh yeah, those are the questions.
Those are the questions.
So the listener can prompt the picture with these 3 questions as they're chatting. So what's the key thing that's bothering you and why? Who else is seeking to tackle this? And how are you going to tackle it different, better, and with more impact? And obviously you can use your own prompts to probe this and clarify if you need to.
And
can I ask a question, please? It might be a daft one. Is it who else is seeking to tackle the challenge? So if you've got a challenge in your head, it's like who out there is also tackling.
Who's your competition, basically? What are the other groups, services, organisations that are also trying to tackle this challenge and issue?
So the key challenge that bothers you and why, that's your social enterprise reason for being.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not like, what do I think is a particular problem that we're facing at the moment?
Correct.
Absolutely. So it's right. What's at the heart of your venture or your project? What's the problem that you're trying to solve with what it is that you're working on? Does that make sense?
We've spent quite a lot of time on days 1 and 2, and then yesterday looking at you, and now we're starting to move into your vision and your organisation. So if you remember when we did the shields exercise, one of the questions on that shield was, what bothers you? What's the challenge? What's the societal challenge perhaps that you're trying to address with your organisation? It might be that you're supporting women affected by a particular thing, or it might be that you want to improve the health and well-being of people in your community, or it might be that life's very fast paced and you're trying to get everybody to slow down, or it might be an environmental challenge, or that you're trying to get more people into creative activities.
And every business at the heart of what they do solves a problem for their customer, and that's one of the first things they'll need to articulate is what is the problem that you're solving for your customer, and in many of our cases for your beneficiaries. So Google, the problem they solve is they help people get the information they need more efficiently. So every single business has this at the heart. So it's really important to try and get under the skin of what it is, what problem it is that you're solving. Any more questions before we open up the rooms? No, fab, okay.
And Sissy, I would say just hang fire before you join yours, because I just want to check. I thought there'd be somebody who wasn't assigned yet. I'm just trying to see. There's here we go. So there we go. I'm going to pop you with. So there's 2 in that group. So Sissy and Sam will be able to be in the set. You'll have a group of 2.
How long have we got in the group?
We've got 10 to 12 minutes. We'll give you a warnings as we go through.
And Donna's got a hand up. So I just wonder if you've got a question, Donna.
Sorry, yeah, I've just got a quick question. How would I go about, because I haven't got a business and I'm not working on anything at the moment, I've just got an idea.
Yeah.
So would that, how would I pitch that? Because it's not a...
But I would talk about how's the idea come about. You don't need to tell us now, but I would just explain to the group how you've come up with this idea, what's motivated you to set this idea up.
Okay.
There'll be some sort of challenge or prompt that's forced you to think about this, and could well be the challenge.
Right, okay.
And you can also just start to think of it in terms of what problem are you solving for who.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Great. If you want to join your groups, that's fine. And Sissy, you'll be fine to join yours. There should be another person in there. And we'll do your, what's it called? Forgotten the word. Commercial break shortly. Is Sanjay there?
I haven't got a room to go into.
You were given one. It's perhaps flagged up. If you hover over breakouts, do you know where to find? Maybe that I can. What I'll do is I'll put you in with Sissy and Sam. I'll perhaps move you in there, and then that'll work fine. So try that. See if there's a little prompt just come up. You can join that, Donna.
It's come up, it's gone.
Oh no, again.
Well, I'll move you back to where you were, but you've got to be, unfortunately, you've got to be quick. Some people, if you hover your cursor over it and click the blue thingy, if not, we'll just keep moving you around till you get there. There you go.
Am I in? No.
Not yet.
No, it's not.
I'll just move you.
It's not coming up as an icon. It just comes up as words at the top of my iPad. Right, room 6.
There you go. Click. Give it a click. See if it works.
How to grow meeting. No.
So, can you see the 3 dots down at the bottom, Donna, where it says more?
Yeah.
Click on that and see if it gives you any. Does it give you a breakout room option?
No.
Let's try it. I'll just keep moving you around till we try and
we
get.
got there in the end yesterday, didn't we?
We did.
It's not.
Is it a touch screen that you're using?
Yeah.
That's sometimes a touch screen. If you don't touch exactly in the right place, it disappears. That's, I think, what might.
It's just the words at the top. It's not an icon or anything. Try it again.
It's not got buttons.
It should say join group, or what's popping up for you? What's it saying?
It's gone. Hang on. Okay.
I'll try again. Move to room.
The host has moved you to room 3, and then it's gone.
You've not got anything like pop-ups disabled or no?
No.
Well, anyway, why don't you stay with us? And I just wonder, you said you weren't sure about this, so why don't you have a chat with Shelley about your idea, and Shelley might be able to prompt you through some of these questions anyway. Would that work, Shelley, do you think?
Yeah, is that good for you, Donna?
Yeah, I can't find, where's Shelley?
She's right here. She's not got a name on it. It says Flourish Together, but Shelley's in the red top.
Okay.
I'm just going to admit Tika, and I'll try and move her to a group.
No worries. I should probably change my name so it says Shelley. So yeah, Donna, I mean, do you want to start by talking and just telling us about your idea?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I missed yesterday's. So yeah, but my idea is it's about this diversity, discrimination. It's just about all of that in schools. And what's prompted me to that is obviously my grandson was racially bullied, and I just thought that in this day and age, you just don't expect it. It came as a bit of a shock, but also the way the school dealt with it, it was like they didn't know what to do. They just didn't know what to do. And I had to get the MP down, and we went down. And what came out of it, they wanted me to have an input in their policy around bullying and harassment and stuff like that. And they admitted that the communication wasn't good and the way they dealt. So that sort of sparked me to think to myself, okay, I am passionate about equality, and rights for people and all of that stuff. And I just thought, well, maybe this is an opportunity to work with schools or work at a level where I can influence schools, or I'm not really sure what it is, but I know the school that my grandson goes to it's in Knutsford, and it's predominantly white, middle class. And that's not the issue, but I don't think they really come up against this sort of thing because there's not many Black children in the school, if you see what I mean. So I just wanted to make some sort of change. I don't know what that would look like. And I don't know really what to do. I mean, I've put my sort of input in, where I think with the policy, I've sent that back and stuff like that. And I'm just waiting to hear back from them. But I was thinking maybe, I don't know, a group of maybe, I don't know, a working group or a group where you can have different stakeholders on the group, tackling, this sort of thing. Yeah. I don't know.
Can I just?
I think you do know.
Can I just ask for 1 moment? I'm just letting Tanya know that I'm assigning Tanya to a group. She's still dialing in. This is the joys of Zoom. And you know, you've absolutely articulated your thing there, Donna, in that, you know, the social issue you're trying to address is racial discrimination. It's as simple as that. And there's lots of layers and there's lots more complexity, but that was, you know, well put across. I'm just letting Tanya know, who's just arrived. And we're in these groups, Tanya, where we've got an observer and people talking about what they're up to. We've had to put everyone in groups. I'm going to move you to a group in the hope that it's not too disruptive for that group for me to add you in. And you might just listen in and they'll explain what they're up to, hopefully. So I'll just move you if I can. And we've got Takala's just arrived as well, so I have to do the same. Just bear with me. So I'll try and assign you into the room here, and hopefully they'll bring you up to speed.
Okay, thanks.
So Donna, I think you articulated the issue really well. So the broader issue is racial discrimination.
Yeah.
But you said in your own words, if I can just reflect back, you said schools don't know what to do. And I think that's absolutely core. So schools don't know what to do to tackle racial discrimination when it arises.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if that's, hearing what you said, if that's the core of the specific issue you're interested in tackling, because what we're going to move on to do later on today is to start to think about possible ideas and activities that you could do to address the issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So do you think that's at the heart of it?
Yeah, I think that's at the heart of it, because even when I went to the meeting, I felt that everyone was walking on eggshells and they didn't want this to get out to social media, and they didn't want this to, do you know what I mean? It was like they were protecting the school as well, and that's fine. But yeah, it just opened my eyes to think, well, they're frightened and they don't know how to deal with it, and they want to do the right thing. They're frightened of not doing, you know. Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's what I felt in that meeting. But it's not about blame. It's about how can I help them then? How can I, you know, pull this thing together where we've got a forum or, you know, a group where you can bring these issues and, you know, I don't know. Yeah.
And can I just let you know, I'm going to keep Tika here. So I don't know if Tika is there behind that screen or not, but I'm going to leave her here, and we'll ask Tika to go through this herself in a moment. We'll explain what's happening rather than put you in a group, Tika. You've just landed. We're working through different social challenges that are bothering us, and Donna's just clearly sort of said some of the things that she's trying to work through at quite an early stage. So sorry to butt in there, Shelley.
Not at all.
I'm here.
Great.
Hi, Tika. It does sound like you've actually articulated that really well, Donna. So, I mean, you can start to, you know, write that down, and you can obviously refine it as you see fit. But I'd be interested to know who else you think is seeking to tackle the issue. You know, if this issue is schools don't know what to do about social discrimination, who else is looking to tackle this?
And are you aware of wider national or local agencies that are tackling this? It's that you're sort of knowing what you're...
No, I don't really know who's tackling it. Would I have to look in that particular area?
So that could definitely be a good research place to start, to see who's looking at it. We're not meant to do suggestions till the end, are we, Nicola?
Not really, but I mean, I butted in there just to give you that, you know, there's things local. So there's things in Knutsford specific, there's things in Manchester, there's things nationally. And I just wonder, that's one area of inquiry, but I wonder, when we asked you that question, who else might be seeking to, who's an ally in this, perhaps? You know, who do you know either that you've spoken to at that school or that you know in your own circles who might be seeking to have a common goal like you?
I think I'm aware of a couple of people that work in Manchester City Council who works around diversity and all of that stuff. And I have tried to contact one person, and I've also tried to contact, is it Jackie Bailey? You know Jackie Bailey?
Yeah.
I've sent her an email, so I'm waiting for her to come back. And I thought it would be helpful for me to speak to people in that field or roundabout So I'm really trying to make contact, but I think what I need to do is really do the research and get names and contact people, really.
Wow.
So that sounds like a really good step that you can take.
Yeah.
And then thinking about, so other people who might be addressing this or considering it, how will what you do mean that you're doing it better, more effectively than other people out there?
Yeah. Yeah, something's just popped up in my head. There is a group in Stockport. I think they're doing some stuff. I'm not sure, but I have to research it. But I haven't done any of that because I feel that I need to be clear in what I want to do, and because I'm not clear, I feel silly if I don't know what I want to do. Do you know what I mean?
Well, this is part of this process, and just trying to see. You don't necessarily have to know exactly what it is you're going to do, but if you know the issue you want to address, that can be what you go out with a call. If you say, schools don't know how to address this, I want to do something about this. You don't have to have all the answers just yet. And you know, this is the start of your journey, but being really clear on that specific issue, then you can start to seek allies and you know, do the relevant research. You know, as soon as you started talking, you had that clarity. You know, yeah.
I guess in terms of looking at how you might tackle it better, more effectively, more impact, you know, learning who else is doing it and how they're doing it. If you even have to touch this topic, you might not just have found the right agency who can do this for you yet. Why you know, be one thing. But also, if it needs to be you that does this, you know, and there's a lot, you know, you could potentially tackle it better, more effectively, because, you know, you've got lived experience, you've got a grandson who you're trying to support, you've got peers and contacts or access to other children, families and young people around you to get involved in this. So, you know, rather than a top-down approach or going to some agency that's supposed to be doing this that you haven't come across yet, you might find a more community-led approach that could help. So, you know, it's what we're trying to do today is help you think about where you're at in the system of what you're trying to do, whether you understand the different layers of the challenges that you're trying to address, and think about how you might position yourself best, so that even if you do find 3 or 4 agencies that are doing this, you might find things they're not quite doing in the way you might expect, or the things that you could add value in this space to help with, if that makes sense. So I'm conscious we've got Tika and Carmen who arrived a little bit late, and so we've not been able to slot you into groups, but it would be great in this short time we've got, perhaps if we hear from Tika with a similar set of quick questions. I don't know if Shelley, you want to ask the questions again?
Well, we're going to do 3 rounds, aren't we?
So, are we? Oh, have we?
They're rushing.
Oh, fine. Have we got the time? I just saw that thing pop up and I thought, oh gosh, is that it?
That's for this session.
Oh, perfect.
And then we were going to do.
With plenty of time then, haven't we?
So everyone gets to unpack their challenge.
Is it worth me trying to? Perhaps these 3 ladies could work as a 3 then.
Yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it?
And so what we've just had is Donna go through these questions, and Shelley's prompted her with these questions. But what we've had in the group is somebody's the pitcher. So Donna's just sort of pitched her thoughts and in response to these questions. Shelley's been the questioner, and we have been the observers here. I wonder if Donna perhaps ask these questions to Tika or Carmen, and then one of whoever doesn't take the questions can act as the observer. And the idea is the observer just listens, and then at the end, the observer will give some feedback on what they've heard. And we've kind of had to jump around and do it a little differently with Donna, but we could hand that over to you 3 now. And
yeah. So, and Nikita, I was thinking I'd bring everyone back into the main room and then tell them to swap pictures.
If you've got time to do that. We just don't want to keep changing breakouts, that's all.
No, you don't have to change them. You can just read, I think.
Fine, if you want to close the rooms, yeah.
Okay, fine.
Shall I?
Yeah, we can close the room.
Should we try and do that? Cool. So stay where you are, ladies, and I might be able to make you a new breakout and put the 3 of you in a room if it'll let me. And if it won't, you'll have to stay where you are.
I'll keep you here. Just another thought, sorry, my feedback to you, Donna.
Yeah.
You might also want to look at what other schools are already doing.
Absolutely.
That could be a good start point. So have they got good policies and procedures in place? And my suspicion is that not many of them have strong ones in place. but also relating to Nicole's point, have they been kind of sense checked by the community? So potentially by people who've been bullied or people who've been perpetrators. It would be interesting to involve the community, the families of the community, and look at what the policies are and are they working and are they effective? Because all the schools are trying to work this stuff out on their own, and they don't, you know, and there might be some beacons out there who are doing it brilliantly, but that good practice isn't being shared amongst schools. So there's some opportunities there as well. And often schools' policies and procedures are on their website, so you can just have a look at them yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Fab. So we're going to leave the rooms as they are. Brilliant. And I can add a room, which is good news. So I'll leave you to do your bit, Shelley, and just
no worries.
And I will have a quick doodle about with people.
Great. So we've got everyone back in the room. So what we're going to do is another round. So we're going to swap pictures. So the person who has is doing the talking about the social issue that they want to address. And if you could switch roles as well. So if you were a listener before, maybe become an observer. And again, we're going to give you another 10 minutes in the same groups. Any questions before we start?
And I know we've got a couple of groups of 2, and I'm sorry, you've got a slightly different conversation there, but you get a little bit more time to talk and think things through as well in that case. We have had some new people join, but they've ended up in their own little 3. So I'm keeping things as they are to save confusion, if that's okay.
So yeah, I don't think we've got any questions, so
I'm going to open rooms and hope hope it's working, and just assign that our new ladies to there. Oh, did it work?
So do I stay where I am? I don't join anything, do I?
Not yet, Donna. I did just create a new room, but I think stay where you are. Yeah, stay where you are, Donna. Great. The new room that I created has disappeared, so we'll leave Donna, Tika and Carmen in the main room, and they can have their chat, and everybody else, if they join their breakout, they should go back to where they were.
Okay.
And that's probably helpful, actually, Shelley, isn't it, to give them that actual cut-off point.
That's at the end, then there's a physical change.
Unmi, you should have had a message to join your group.
Yeah, I'm joining.
Oh, perfect. No problem. I just thought I'd just check. Didn't need to do some magic.
I was just doing a message to Nicola.
Okay. Lovely. Fire away, ladies. I don't know if you want to. Who wants to go next? Obviously, Donna's done her.
I'll ask the questions if someone wants to tell me what their business is or idea. Who wants to go first?
I think I can go. Yeah. Fire them at me.
Oh, cool. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. What is the key challenges that bothers you and why in what you're doing?
Okay, so the key challenge for me, I think, are massive inequalities that exist, especially I never thought these would exist in a developed country. So that's something that I'm passionate about, addressing these inequalities. And for now, that's a personal, sort of a personal passion. And they are at 2 levels. For me, it's probably the groups that I would want to work and do more work with in addressing these inequalities are women and the youth. And I'm biased, so for me, the audience is mainly, or probably I'm drawn towards people with an African background.
Okay. And who else is seeking to tackle this social issue that you're trying to?
There are a number of organizations at national level which are sort of working towards the same, like reducing the massive inequalities that exist in this nation. In Manchester, I need to do more research. I think there are a number of organizations as well that are working and tackling the same issues. Yeah, they are in Manchester as well.
And because what you said was you are passionate about inequalities with women and the youth.
Youth, yeah, reducing inequalities, yeah.
So how will you do that? What will the impact be? How will you, are you going to separate them? Is it 2 separate groups?
Yes, yes. So there are 2. So the focus now is how can we empower ourselves as a people economically, but also I would say in terms of our lifestyles as well. So the inequalities exist at those 2 levels. Economic inequalities are there, which are massive, but also healthy inequalities that exist in the country. Those are the 2 levels at which I would want to address, and working with women as a group, a separate group, but also working with the youth as a separate group.
Okay. So when you say inequalities, because it's wide, is it health inequalities? Is it racial inequalities? Is it class inequality? You know, what? Because I think it's really, this is only my...
I've said economic and health inequalities. Those 2 specific, inequalities,
Okay.
But which, because you brought in the issue of race, which emanates, of course, from who the people are in terms now of their race.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think race is sort of like an umbrella, sort of that, or probably where these inequalities are coming from. But then they are in the healthy sector, but also in terms of the economic lives that these groups are leading here in the United Kingdom. So that bothers me. That bothers me quite a lot.
Okay. Carmen, do you want to say anything as an observer?
You haven't asked me the 3rd question.
We're not, sorry. How you're going to tackle it better, more effectively, and with more impact?
Right. So at the moment, what we've started doing, I'm not so sure about with more impact or more effectively, but we've started the underground work. So we started tackling as an organization at community level. So we are working with the women in our locality, bringing them together and having conversations. And I don't know whether I shared this with you last time we met. So we had a project last year for 6 months where we had about 35 women. And we worked together for 6 months having conversations, but we also had mentors and coaches in different fields who were now working with the women for those 6 months. So I'm hoping, and we are hoping as an organization, we'll get more funding so we can continue to do more work with the women that we've been working with. Yeah.
Okay.
The youth is similar. We've done such sessions with the youth in the same area, but it was when COVID sort of put us off track a bit, so we didn't do much with the youth. But now that we are coming out, those are the programs that we'll be doing, running with the youth in our locality.
Okay. Okay. Over to you, Carmen. Do you want to? Oh, I can't hear you. Hi. No, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Nightmare technology. Yeah, so I think first and foremost, what came to me was the same question that you asked, Donna. I think your purpose is absolutely legit, but there are a whole range of inequalities, and even within certain, so let's say that you were saying about economic, but there's lots of different economic inequalities. I think you probably could do with being more direct or kind of aiming it more specifically, because I think if you go to people and say, I'm here to help people overcome inequalities, it's just such a broad spectrum. But I work for a youth charity, and so, for example, we work with young people around inequality and things like that. And so what we do is we set not a schedule, but we set groups up and to invite people to come in and learn about the things that affect them personally. So we may have, like, say for children, we may have one that's all about career and enterprise and how they can help to overcome barriers to that. And then we might have another one that's based on specifically on prejudice against race and things like that. And you were mentioning the project with the 35 women. What was it you were doing specifically in that project? I know that you're saying
all right, I think I didn't expound. I just told you that we did this project. So the project was called Arise, and you're right, economic equality is just like a blanket. It's just too vague and too big a topic. So the women, we had 5 mentors actually. So we had one mentor so the women chose the areas that they wanted to work on during those 6 months. So we had a group on personal development. So it was just personal development in general, looking at who they are, talking about their childhood and where they want to be. So we had a coach coaching the women on personal development. And then we had one coaching the women on career progression. And then we had another one coaching the women on education endeavors, those who were interested in furthering their education. And then we had the last one, which was on business. So people who had interest in sort of probably establishing their businesses or taking their businesses to another level. So we had 2 coaches actually for the business group who were now mentoring and coaching the women in that specific area. So yeah, economic inequalities, but then we had these groups, yeah.
Yeah, that makes so much more sense. And it's so targeted. And I get it, yeah. I think that's, so that would probably be my first piece of advice, would just be because that's perfectly clear and that makes so much sense. So I would just stick with that. And then you were saying about how you want to tackle it. So you were mentioning that there was obviously there's other groups that doing similar work right now. Have you got any groups that you look at and think that's the way that that's a similar way to how we could organize ourselves to take that inspiration?
I think, as you've said, probably now that you've posed the question back to me, I don't think there is any group here in Manchester which has done a project similar to what we did. So our organization, I think, is so unique in that sense that we had these, and that was another thing for me. It was to use mentors and coaches who have had similar or have lived experiences with the women. So yeah, so we use people from the same background. So for me, that was important. So I think we probably outside of Manchester, there are those that are doing something similar to what we've done, but I haven't seen any organization doing exactly what we did. But I know there are organizations that are also tackling and aiming to tackle and reduce the economic also, and that also the health inequalities that exist in this nation. Because those are the way, I think the 2 of the things that came out during the pandemic to the fore, that they were just massive inequalities, yeah, that we need to start tackling, yeah, at community level, at national level.
Right. Oh, thank you. Carmen, do you want to tell us about you? Shall I observe and you ask the questions?
I'll ask her the questions.
Okay. You ask the questions.
Donna, you'll be the observer.
And just letting you know, ladies, I think I'm Michaela here butting in. I know Shelley's going to be bringing people back into the room shortly, but
yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, of course. You don't get the messages for the breakout rooms. Yes, so everyone's coming back in, and then we'll do the final round.
So if you just give it hold that thought. Yeah, it's brilliant what you were talking about then, because it leads in totally to what the activity we're about to do. What you were saying there about peeling, being more explicit. We've got a really good activity that even if you think you're being explicit about what you do, by peeling back the layers of the challenge even more, it helps you either pinpoint down really clearly, or it opens up new areas of opportunity that you might not have thought of, or that you might not have realised you could work well within. So it's really interesting listening in, and thank you for letting us be a fly on the wall there.
Can we just have a few minutes with Carmen? Is that
Carmen, haven't asked her the questions?
You're coming back to Carmen in a minute.
Coming back,
we're going to have 10 minutes with Carmen
session
now. Yeah. So everyone else is rejoining, so
I'm just going to leave for a few minutes. I'll be back out to join my room.
Okie dokie.
no worries.
Please get something.
Okie doke.
Sorry.
Okay.
Have we got everyone back in the room? Yes, we have. Fantastic. So that was the second picture, and we're going to move on to the third and final person in your group to talk about their